All right.
All right. Um, Hello, everybody. So, the state of the union as of today is that we are very close to being able to launch, um, hopefully this week, fingers crossed. And the big push right now, with that in mind, is getting the 209A4 up and running. Do people agree with that? Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Um, we are doing a number of things on the project management side to make that happen. Um, Chiefly, we are addressing our relative shortage of people who can both get the wizard generated interviews up to snuff and SMEs that can help them do that. Right now, the people who've chiefly been working on that before today were me as the coder and Kate Berry as the SME. Quentin started working on that with Kate Berry today. It went well. Last night we onboarded someone named Tom Trina, me, Kate, and Caroline, and that went well. He needs a little more time to get his feet under him too, but feet under him before he can like pair off with somebody. But I feel relatively confident that he'll be able to do that eventually, though maybe not this week because he has a full-time day job still. And then I was walking through some of how to do that with Michelle today, and I am very confident, though she might say otherwise, that she'll get up to speed and be able to do paired programming with somebody very soon. And so that means that ideally right now we have three between 2 and 4 people on the coding side who can do this. I say 2 and 4 because there's a very high chance that this week my chickens come home to roost in my day job and I have to spend 2 to 3 days working on an appeal. Though my work has been very generous in terms of taking stuff off my plate with that, which has been great. So who knows? So the people I'm counting are Quentin, Michelle, Tom, and then anybody else who comes up who we might be able to recruit would be great. We're going to hopefully put out a call on the DocAssemble Slack today. In terms of SMEs, we've got Kate.
I was just going to say, did folks follow up with Mark? Because he teaches DocAssemble, so.
Yes. So he
might also have students, is my point. Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle took the lead on that, but me and Maeve were in on it too. Basically, one of my tasks for today, other than kind of battening down the hatches in case I have to jet, is getting together something for him that will orient him to the pair programming process. Because since he's in Australia, it's maybe going to be a little bit more difficult to schedule time with him. Which leads us to the other bottleneck, which is family law SMEs. So we have Kate, who I can't say enough about, has been fantastic, crucial. One of those people that David keeps saying is like, how would we do this without you? Caroline is very, very good at the paired programming aspect of this. She has like enough family law insight and enough DocAssemble insight to be really useful there. So I think we can count on her to do that too. And then there's a woman named Michelle. Kate, what's her last name?
Hamill?
Yeah, from Community Legal Aid in Worcester, which is in the central part of Massachusetts, who is available for she's blocked out like a full day on Friday. Because when we talked to Laura Gall, we basically said like, if we can get people for, like one full day, maybe even a half day, we could probably do a lot with those folks on the SME side. And so that's the state of things. I'm hoping that that by all keeping open lines of communications this week on that level, we can get like a couple teams going in parallel on the 209A form. And if we can do that, then, I feel like sometime next week we could have something that's ready to launch, depending upon how buggy our initial draft is. And I guess also crucially, whether those bugs are bugs we're willing to accept at a minimum viable product.
And then just so you understand, the court's expectation under the new MOU, about to be signed MOU, is they will obviously want to do, since they're going to be linking directly from the website, they'll want to sign off on the forms and the interview before launch. So anything you produce will be version 1 for then
Their review.
for their review. We've also been told that if we want to have people directly from them involved before that stage, we can reach out and maybe get some names to people to do that review. I'm hopeful that that would be fruitful, but it may be a type of thing where they'd be happy to do an email here, and it's not clear to me that they can give the sort of, you know, the deep dive.
Yeah.
But if you have something that's ready for them to look at, or you think that would be useful, it may be that the most useful thing is to do your best to get it to a good place, get it to them, get their feedback, make tweaks. But we can explore that more offline.
Right. I'm inclined to agree with you there, David. Yeah, so that's where we are at there. That's necessarily focused on, this is necessarily focused on sort of the right half of the Trello board, because that's where I've been focusing my attention. So if folks like Noelle and Charlotte or anybody else on the call has stuff that's going on with labeling, with wizarding, let us know. Or does anyone else have any other blockers or things they want to bring up?
Maybe I can just speak to that form that, so Noelle did a form on the proposed motion, and I spoke to Kate about it just because it was a bit complicated to label, where, you know, either party could be ordered to do something or ordered not to do something. So just trying to come up with a label for that was a bit challenging. So I'm like just playing around with that a little bit, and then hopefully I'll put that up and then we can see if that works in the wizard. But that's the only thing from our side that in terms of labeling.
On that score, I think you can still use user.
The problem with this form though specifically is that it's going to be like user or other party, because it could be either. I'm just going to pull it up quickly and show you. Maybe
well, the user is the person who is using the form. It doesn't matter if they are a different party or if they're a plaintiff or a defendant or whatever. It's generic enough that it is whoever is filling out the form.
And then the code, correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, but basically the wizard or basic questions can pop in whoever they actually are.
So you're suggesting that, because the thing is, okay, let me just show you the form quick, and then maybe it'll be.
Or we can do this later. We don't have to do.
Okay.
I mean, if people are interested, then we can do it now. But also, you and I can do it later.
What's the time? Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll just jump up at the end of this call. We'll just have a look at it.
Perfect.
All right.
But I've got what I need from Kate, and I've got what I need from Noelle. So I think from you two, and then I just need to work on this with Michelle, and then I'll report back to you guys what we decide.
Okay.
All right, well, it sounds like we're running like a fine oiled machine. It's probably just a quiet before the storm or something.
Well, if you want to hear about code stuff, I don't think anyone in here, well, not anyone, but I think that might be going a bit too into the weeds for this conversation.
You're probably not going to need to get into detailed bits. Although I in theory, this stand-up is the whole project stand-up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, all right.
It's
Then
just that we haven't
we
ever.
don't have that many coders in here. That's all right.
Yeah, that's been in theory, the A to J Slack is also the whole project Slack. It's just that we didn't want to make people move from where they were. We wanted to meet people where they were at.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that like conversations about code, I think we would clutter up each other's channels.
Yeah, I do. There would definitely have been two channels, maybe in one Slack if things were ideal, but
yeah.
We've got some. Noelle, did you want to say something? I saw you unmuted there.
Yes. I just had a quick question on, so I'm working on the petition for conservator labeling, which is going to take a little bit because it's 6 pages. And I just had I didn't know if we covered like pages. Sometimes at the bottom of the petitions, it'll be like 1 page of 5 or page 1 of 5. And sometimes like the field will automatically be created, and should we be deleting those, or how do you want to handle like pages? Because they do shift depending on if you add more people, if you take people away, the page numbers shift. But I didn't know if we discussed that yet.
I guess a question I have is like, what would happen with a printed form? Like, would it say 1 of 5 despite there being only 4 pages?
So in my experience, like if I'm filling, So do you mean like if I'm filling it out, like writing on it?
Yeah, or even like if you printed it out. I guess to give you a little more context, what are the clerks used to seeing? Like, if that makes sense.
So like I use this form all the time. So I usually fill it out online, and then after I fill it out, it sets the pages depending on how much information I've added, and then it'll print. So it could either be 4 pages if it's really small, or it could be 7 pages depending on how many parties are involved. So it does adjust depending on how much you print out, and then it changes once you print it, it'll say page 7. So I don't know how that'll compute over to what we're
As long
doing.
as that, we just need to test to make sure that that adjustment actually lives on in the version we create. If it doesn't, then I think we'd need to nix it. But if it does, that's great.
So I had been deleting like the page field because it wasn't something that the user needs to input. So should I keep doing that?
No, yeah, keep deleting the page field.
Okay. Okay.
Like a lot of times printers will do there might be a setting for the printer that goes print the number at the bottom of the page, and then that's not part of the interview. It's not us saying.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm thinking, sorry, that on forms that we have this, perhaps we could just make a comment on the Trello card that this is going to be a form that has
That is paginated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Do that. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
That's a good step
Yeah.
for now. I think so. Yeah. That's a
But
great
yeah, just keep
idea.
deleting the fields. That's what I've also been doing.
Okay. All right. Thank
Yes, and delete.
Yeah, as
the
long as
field.
we're consistent.
Okay.
Quentin, you missed all the fun.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I did see the bird video, and it's so cute. I can't believe this. They're living on your porch.
Yeah, like then they don't move at all when we go in and out. They're just very content. That's why I was able to get it so close.
That's hilarious.
Good for those birds. What a charmed life.
Life hasn't changed for birds.
Yeah.
Not a bird flu. That's the
No.
that's the other one.
Not this time. Okay.
I think we're good. I think the
All right.
last thing I'd say is I think we are at a stage in the project, and folks can feel free to push back on this, where I think like even like one more intermediate coder or one more SME could probably help us get this done a lot quicker. And intermediate can mean a lot of things.
We put a call out on the Slack, I think, that David, Michelle, you and I, in that message. Maybe we put that out and hopefully we'll be able to get someone.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean, Matt, you put it on the assembly line channel in DocAssemble Slack, right?
I haven't I haven't put it out yet, but since we haven't gotten any weigh in for a while, I think it looks good.
Okay. And we could put it on the main DocAssemble channel too.
That's what I'm thinking.
Audit. So I was thinking,
Yeah,
let's
that's
just put it on the main DocAssemble channel.
because I mean, when Matt and I were talking about, you probably already covered this earlier, so I'm sorry. But when we were talking about it, I was thinking it's a smaller ask because we're really just saying help somebody who wants to get up to speed, be comfortable, and be able to answer their questions if you've used DocAssemble before and can say how different pieces work.
So Quentin, maybe if you haven't already,
that?
if you could take a look at the draft of the ask I did and just make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, no, it looked good what you had.
Good, great.
The latest version, with the bold.
This is on one of many DMs, isn't it? Let me see if I can find it.
I can share it with you personally, and then you can it'll link you to it.
Now I'm realizing there were 2 different asks that we're talking about. One is to the wider DocAssemble community, and one is to people who are new who want to commit more time.
Yeah, I mean, if we want, we can finish this conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want, but I think we should close the loop on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's drill down. We'll loop back later.
Yeah.
There, it's shared at the bottom of that, so you should be able to see it now.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect ask for people inside. And then for the ask on DocAssemble Slack, we might tailor it to like, hey, would you be willing to mentor somebody who, for a few hours to help them feel comfortable?
Well, I mean, people in the DocAssemble Slack may also not know how to use the wizard. I think it will be a new, the generated code. I think it will be a new experience for them as well. So I don't think we should do mentoring until people feel comfortable with doing it themselves, right? But you can do whatever seems to suit.
Yeah, I worry about us keeping people out who might end up being really active, but then the downside is if we expose people to things that they just can't do, they can get discouraged. So
My thought was
we
that
might
this first
lean more
call
towards
out.
this side of inviting more people in, but
So my thought was at the beginning, let's start with people who know what they're doing. And once we get them, more people who know what they're doing, also open to other people, but more ideally who know what they're doing. And then once we get them settled, we can like branch out to have them mentor people that don't know as much.
Yeah.
Because there's issues that come up, like I need to set up multiple addresses, which like is fine if the wizard deals with it in the future, that's great. But right now there's a form that needs multiple addresses. So, you know, when people run into those situations, it's better to have some experience.
yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that there might be ways for us to consider adjusting the process so someone who knows a little bit can do a helpful thing on the part they know, and then have someone come in and do a pass and make things better without us feeling like it's wasting any time.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of the three of us who have that experience are quite busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we need more people to expand it.
Yeah,
agree with
I guess
that.
what I worry about is that getting those people up to speed is going to take more time than we're spending just coding it right now. And that for a blitz to get the 209A done might look different than the process we want to use in the medium term.
And maybe part of it is identifying forms that seem to have fewer of those complicated issues. Like there's no lists on it where we have to deal with multiple of one item. There's some straightforward forms that would just be nice to have up.
Yeah, I think there are. Like the 209A is a real thicket.
Yeah. But we just need to select from those lists that the courts have provided. There's some, you know, we could prioritize a couple of simplest forms, get them out there.
And having the experience of going through a whole form will let someone get up to speed faster than we think. So when I say like, what should someone who's kind of new and someone who's used DocAssemble before work on, it's like changing the text on different screens or changing the order of questions, not coming up with renaming variables or adding new data structures, nothing like that.
Okay.
But maybe they can flag those issues for someone to look at later who has that time. So we save our most expert time for the more complicated issues. There's no form that won't have one of those complicated issues, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it might be that we can get 80% of the way there with people who are new and they get experience that they really start to learn a new skill. They'll become more and more comfortable. Yeah, it's just an idea. I think if we wait and say gatekeep that and say you have to already be really experienced with it, I think we'll lose out on people who want to contribute. And
I don't think the message says that you need to be experienced. It just doesn't say.
It doesn't say one way or the other.
Yeah,
It does that? What?
Here, yeah.
Okay. Well, we can work it. We can edit it.
I just wonder if there's a resource which is the people who know DocAssemble and who would be comfortable. Okay, yeah, here's where you edit the text of a question.
I totally hear you. I totally hear you.
If they could help someone
sense.
who's new and really eager to learn the whole process from scratch.
It makes sense.
I'm thinking pairs. That's the basic idea. Like, can we use those people who might have 2 hours who know DocAssemble to pair up with someone who's eager to do the whole process and can become an expert on the wizard side of things?
Mm-hmm.
Might not work, but I'd be willing to spend some time to help get that happen.
Yeah, me too.
It's all the shots you don't take.
Yes.
It's true. But I mean, when there's a clock on the shots, you got to
Well,
choose which ones you're taking.
I think we've got a good pipeline now for doing the 209A thing. It looks like we'll be able to get there sometime next week, which is the time which I think would be sort of the latest.
Yeah, I mean, again, if that estimate is based on both Quentin and Michelle at this point, like transitioning to doing what I've been doing.
Yeah, and so yeah, I like the idea of focusing a little now on the 209A, but then ramping up the training. So short term, we want to get the 209A out because that gives us the political leverage we need to keep going. But we want to be cognizant of the fact that we don't want a bunch of volunteers sitting around feeling there's nothing to do and losing them. So we need to do just enough to keep people from disappearing as volunteers while prioritizing the 209A.
All right, sounds good.
All right, do we anything else? All right,
The
well,
list of forms is going to be finished today, so
sweet.
I'll
awesome.
let you know about that. Other than that, I think that's all for today.
And I think we're this close. So fingers crossed, everybody. Hopefully launch this week, which means next week. But
Well, still, hopefully.
all right. Cheers.
All right,
Bye.
see you later. Bye.